Hey, how's it going, guys?
Great.
I was calling because I'm a Methodist. I was raised Baptist. I know the difference between like how the Baptists interpret things and the Methodists, and I'm kind of relatively familiar with like some of the other Protestant branches, Presbyterians and whatnot. And I was wondering, like, the difference between, like, say, a Roman Catholic versus, like, an Irish Catholic, and if there's, like, an American Catholic, and I'm assuming they're all, Catholic,
Right.
but is there, like,
Sure.
if I was thinking about converting, what would I fall under, that kind of the different beliefs if there are any?
Just don't be a Canadian Catholic, Jake.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we're joking because unfortunately Patrick suffers with that disease called being a Canadian.
It happens.
It happens.
Sorry, we lost you there, Jake.
Anyway, Jake, here's the key. In the church, in fact, the Catechism of the Catholic Church lists 7 major rites and 22 churches, all within the Catholic Church, the one church, the one true church established by Jesus Christ. So, Jake, when you're talking about Roman Catholic, even though in the modern era, in modern times, it has been sort of, it's come to be used as synonymous simply with Catholic. That is, you're in union with the Bishop of Rome. Technically speaking, and my Eastern Catholic friends always make this very clear to me, technically speaking, Roman is a particular rite within the Catholic Church. The
R-I-T.
Latin rite.
R-I-T-E.
Yeah. And when we say rite, that's right, we're talking R-I-T-E. Now, Irish is not a rite, that's a country, Ireland, and so they are generally speaking, members of the Roman rite or the Western rite. Now, there are various Eastern rites. We have Byzantine Catholics, we have, Syro-Malabar Catholics, we have all sorts of different rites, 7 major rites, and then 22 churches as well. Churches are somewhat different than rites. The rite is the way in which these various churches worship. And how this came about, Jake, is when the church first originated, of course, it was in Israel, in Jerusalem. That was the center of the faith. But as the church grew, it grew all over the world. And in different parts of the world, Jake, there were different ways of worship. The way that we worship sort of grew up organically, rooted in varying cultures. And so while the faith is essentially the same, Jake, there's no essential difference. In other words, whether you're a Byzantine Catholic or a Latin rite or a Roman Catholic, you have the same essential beliefs. But the style of worship, even the language of worship, is different and such. Different spiritualities, and you will find some minor disagreements or emphasis on certain matters, theological as well, but it is the same one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church that manifests itself in different rites or ways of worship around the world. Does that make sense, Jake?
Yeah, it kind of does. So they're not any really differences.
That's right.
I kind of have a little bit of a follow-up. Like,
okay.
I grew up in Omaha, and I have a lot of friends that went to Creighton, and like I know that's a Jesuit school. Are those like different branches? Like I don't know any of the other like difference between like a Jesuit
Sure.
or I know they're kind of keen on education, but
Yes.
how did those break up of like?
Gotcha.
Like what's Jesuit versus somebody else?
Right. Well, Jake, now you're talking about religious orders within the church. We have Dominicans and Franciscans. You mentioned the Jesuits. We've got Carmelites. Lots of different orders. And religious orders spring up around normally one charismatic, not charismatic as in the charismatic movement today, but a dynamic leader. For example, if we take the Jesuits, St. Ignatius of Loyola is the founder of the Jesuits, and he was a tremendous man of God, a former soldier who had a tremendous conversion and became a great defender of the faith. And in fact, the Jesuits, as you know, were famous as part of the Catholic Counter-Reformation or the Catholic Reformation that really brought healing to the church after the Protestant, popularly called the Reformation. So each one of these religious orders have a particular charism, a particular gift. Our own Father Serpa is a Dominican, and their charism is preaching. They're called the Order of Preachers. They too are very much into teaching, doing seminars, missions, and so forth. But you have others, religious orders that focus, such as Mother Teresa's order that she founded, that focus on ministry to the poor. You have others that focus on hospital ministry and so forth. So these are various gifts in the church that function for the building up of the entire body of Christ. And it's really cool, Jake, because what you find is that, be it Benedictine or Jesuit or Dominican, there's a different emphasis, little different spirituality that appeals to different personalities and different types of folks, all unified in one faith, but people with different gifts and such are able to express them in different ways.
That's good. That kind of explains a lot to me. I appreciate it, guys.
Okay,
Excellent, Jake.
God bless.
God bless.